Bryce Roth. Bryce is the marketing and social strategist at CitizensFirst Credit Union in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. Let's give him a warm hand.
All right, so I want to start with a question, actually a couple questions. So how many of you out there, raise of hands, feel like you've reached the top of the relevancy chain as far as your credit union goes in your marketplace? How many of you are able to engage younger members and have them actually talking about you on their social networks, referring people to come into your branch, and actually have these young people, ages 15 to 25, coming on Sunday nights on their own time to learn about personal finance and professional growth? Okay, not too many, right? So my question is why? Why not? And I really believe that we've got some problems. And so I'm not going to tell any of you anything that you haven't heard before. I want to talk about the problems and then address them. So they're pretty obvious, but let's take a look under the hood. So problem number one, the aging demographic of credit union members is not changing at all. We need to lower that. In the United States, the average member is 48 years old, and a study just done by Currency Marketing in September says that the average Canadian credit union member is 54 years old. And until we can lower our average member's age, we ain't gonna get any satisfaction. So problem number two is a lack of relevancy and loyalty. And you can't establish loyalty until you're relevant. And so I ask you to think about how you feel about your members. And I bet it's all warm and fuzzy, right? Because we love what we do, we're really passionate about it. But then think about how our members think about us. Is it the same? And my guess is that it's probably a little bit like this. Maybe they're sneaking behind our backs with another financial institution, and we all need to make them, we need to be their primary financial institution, right? So three, poor personal finance skills. This has plagued the U.S. for decades, okay? And we just started doing something about it several years ago. But as a credit union, because of the cooperative principles, the fifth cooperative principle, we are obligated to educate our members and our communities. And if you look at it too, from a strategic planning level, the more educated our members are, the less risk we're exposed to when we're writing out loans, right? So we have to do something about this, and I believe that if we do that, we'll have less people looking like this at your teller line when it's time to pay for their auto payment, right? So number four, and this is the biggest one to me, is many credit unions have lost our original purpose, right? The cooperative principles. That's our only differentiator in the financial industry. And when we fail to tell that story, we just become like our competitors, other banks. And so we need to embrace these cooperative principles because there's really a lot of value in them. And now, let me explain why. So what do we know? We know that there's plenty and plenty of research and studies out there, and it doesn't lie because it's research, right? So young people are looking for someone that's got a higher purpose, a higher cause. And so if you look at the screen, you see Tom Shoes. If you're not familiar with Tom Shoes, which you almost hear about them at every credit union conference, and you should, Tom Shoes, they sell you a pair of shoes, and then they ship a pair over to a less fortunate person in another country, right? And I'm here to tell you that credit unions have been Tom Shoes before they even thought of the idea, okay? I'm not a Tom Shoes fan, I prefer Converse. But anyhow, we are the Tom Shoes of the finance industry, and we need to capitalize on that because there's some good news. It's not just all problems. It's these young people want to know what they want, and credit unions are exactly what they want, but because we're not relevant and they don't know about us and the value that we bring to their lives, you know, it's a problem. So what are we doing in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, and Fond du Lac, Wisconsin? We're doing something called Next Gen Outreach, and it's a combination of financial literacy, community outreach, engagement, and exposure. Now, the first two are critical, and they're based on the cooperative principles in many ways. And the other two are how you become relevant. So let's dive into it. So Next Gen is a group of young people 15 to 25 years old that we educate on financial issues, and then we engage them in doing the right thing in the community, going out and making a difference, okay? And then we take that to a whole new level with our board of advisors, and we engage them, let them meet with our executives. They go in front of our board once a quarter, and it's really a higher level of financial education because they learn how the credit union runs and why it runs that way. And then the third of this holistic approach is the voice, and that's the social aspect, and that's a contest that we run on the internet. And people vie for this spot to talk about our credit union or their lives and how the credit union is helping them. And so this really addresses all of these issues, and it keeps the cooperative principles at the forefront the whole time. So results, right? We have been fortunate enough that in 8 months, we've been featured in all of these different publications. And Credit Union Times, right, that's speaking to us. But these other ones, these are speaking to non-members. And now we're getting that story out there, and we're building that relevancy and that value. And that's what we need to do. And so there's a lot of CEOs and CFOs, and you guys are numbers guys, and rightfully so. So what are the results? We had a strategic plan. All of you have a strategic plan, so we're not any special or anything. But at the beginning of the year, we really wanted to lower the average age of our membership. And this program, with the stats we took at 8 months in, I'm happy to report that we've shaved 1 year off of our membership. So we're down from 45 to 44, well below the average. And we wanted to grow our membership 34 and under as well. And so you see a number here, 650. That's just a number, right? But what that number represents is that after 8 months, only 8 months, we are 650 checking accounts over projected budget for the year of 34 and under. That is a 10% increase in that demographic. Those are the future borrowers. Those are the people that we need to engage. And so this wouldn't be a keynote in California if I didn't do a Steve Jobs tribute. So this can be done anywhere. This can be done anywhere. And so I really want to thank CUES, DDJ Myers, and Currency Marketing for this opportunity. And thank you all. Enjoy the rest of the conference.
Let's hear it for Bryce and his Converse shoes. So we've got a little bit of time here for a question or two. So let's start with Dee Dee.
Yeah, thank you, Bryce. I love your enthusiasm and your energy, and there's a couple statements you made that are powerful. I'm just going to repeat them back. We are obligated. I really love that sense of accountability, so thank you for that. The other one is we are the Tom shoes of the financial industry. So I hear you use language of what we call declaration, and that's very, very strong. And then you talked about purpose. And my question to you in those contexts is, what is your purpose in this whole relevancy project?
My purpose is to make our credit union, or as many credit unions as possible, as relevant as possible, is to engage these young people and really deliver the value that we offer, but not in the way that we typically have done it, because that obviously is not really working. I mean, we've been at 16% of the marketplace for how long? And I want to retire as a credit union employee in some capacity, and I don't, that's a scary thing to me if we don't become more relevant and grow our membership just in the whole industry.
And one quick follow-up. So a year from now, what would success be for you?
Success for me would be that we have a couple hundred people at every meeting, and we can continue delivering value that's going to help these people, not only just with personal finance, which is really, really important, but also to prepare them. We do a lot of professional coaching too with our HR team and stuff. We want to prepare them for a successful future, kind of set them up. So if that's what they want, we want to be the resource to help them get to where they want to be.
Thank you. I expect that will happen.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
We have 1 more minute. Does one of the other judges have a question? Ron?
So the youth that you're putting your focus on, have they formed a group where they meet on a regular basis and they have some leadership that has evolved? And is there a way of relating that experience to us?
Yeah, so we actually have a website where they can converse in between the meetings and everything. But we have a schedule. So we meet every other month to talk about a financial issue, and then democratic membership, right? So we let them vote on what they want to learn about at the next event. And so it goes like that, and then the websites where they can RSVP to the events, invite other people and do all that stuff. So we try to keep it open so they can really dictate their group, because it's not Citizens First group, it's their group, and that's how we have to relate to this next generation. It's not about us, it's about them and what they can do when we work together.
One other question. Do you have a student branch by any chance?
We do not. We've been working on that for the last year. It fell through at the last minute. We still are working on that. We feel that that's really important. There's a lot of great credit unions everywhere, but in Wisconsin that have done that, and I applaud them, and that's really something that we want to do. Yes.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Bryce.
Nice.